So here we go. Standard form is going to be, now again, because you have notes, right? I'm not going to give you standard form. You guys are going to have your notes. Standard form is AX plus BY equals C. Okay, now in this standard form, one of the things they're going to say is A, B, and C are integers. Integers means that it cannot be a decimal or a fraction. So when it's saying no integers, that's implying, oh, it can't be a decimal or it can't be a fraction. Another little key piece of information it's telling me here is that A has to be bigger than or equal to 1. Guys, you know what that means? That means that A can't be negative. So your A value, this A value right here, has to be positive. And we're going to look at examples today where it'll end up being negative and we'll have to switch it to be a positive value. So right now, just write this down. We're just taking notes and then we'll kind of get into it. Again, you have seen this before in Algebra 1, maybe even in pre-algebra. It's not as common as slope-intercept form, but we do need to know how to kind of work around with this. All right, so let's take a look at example 1. It says directions, write each equation in both standard form and slope-intercept form, then graph the line. All right, so as we take a look, we've got number 1 is in standard form. And I'm just going to write above this. This is AX plus BY equals C. Now, you might think to yourself, well, wait, that's already in standard form. But part of the reason why they want me to write it in proper standard form is that the A value right now is negative, and we just learned that A cannot be negative. For it to be in true, proper standard form, that A value cannot be negative. So the first thing I need to do to get this in proper standard form is I'm going to divide everything by -1. Now I'll get positive 5x minus 6y equals positive 12. Now it's in real standard form. Okay. So now we'll get it into slope-intercept form. Okay, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and I'll just slide over the standard form that it provided to me. So I'm just going to copy this over. I'm going to copy my negative 5x plus 6y equals negative 12. I don't know how far you got into the practice yesterday, if you even tried it, but yesterday on that practice, I asked you guys to do 1 to 14 yesterday. Some of the questions were given to you where it looked like this, and it said to rearrange it into slope-intercept. And so in this, if I had to get this into slope-intercept form, we need to do that now. That's basically saying get this y by itself over here. So we have to move x first. Right now it's a negative 5x. So the first thing I'm going to do is add 5x to both sides. Okay. Now we'll have 6y equals, on the other side, be careful. One's a negative 12, one's a 5x. Those aren't like terms. We can't actually add them together. So I'm just going to write 5x minus 12. From there, we're still needing to get y by itself because we're trying to get it into slope-intercept form. Remember, slope-intercept form, we looked at that yesterday. Y equals mx plus b. That's what I'm trying to do. So now I just need to divide everything by 6. That will get the y by itself. So now I'm going to have y equals, okay, right here, class, don't get a decimal there, 5 over 6. I want that to be a fraction because that's going to be my slope. We talked about slope a lot yesterday, rise over run. We want the slope to be a fraction. So I'm going to leave 5 over 6 x. Now here I do want to simplify. Negative 12 over 6, that's just going to be negative 2. Yeah. So now that's my answer in slope-intercept form. Y equals mx plus b. That's what we did a lot of work with yesterday. Okay, so we've done quite a bit in this problem. We got it in good standard form where a was not negative. We rearranged standard form into slope-intercept. And now the last thing I need to do is graph it. So in looking at this, Megan, what would be the slope in this?
5 over 6.
Good. Tanner, what's the y-intercept?
Negative 2.
Okay, so now we're going to go over here to our graph and graph it. Begin with B. So on the y-intercept, I put a point at negative 2. My slope is positive 5 over 6. Rise over run. We go up 5 spaces, and we run to the right 6. After that, connect the 2 points. That makes your line. You know, it's always easy to graph something if it is in slope-intercept form because that's honestly what most students are just so comfortable with. You've had the most experience graphing lines in slope-intercept form. You've really been doing that since you've been in Algebra 1. Okay. So one problem, but just like a lot of steps to that one problem. Any questions on that one? What do you guys think? Easy, okay, hard? Okay, let's try another one. We're going to take a look at number 4. So I want you to slide on down to number 4. Okay, all right. So on this one, okay, it is in standard form. There's ax plus by equals c. So I've got the x, I've got the y on one side, I've got c as my constant term. But it's not in proper standard form because it said in the proper standard form that a, b, and c need to be integers. And right now, this a term is a fraction. That's not an integer. So I have to fix that. Okay, the way that we're going to fix that, if you have a fraction, is we need to multiply everything by whatever's in the denominator. So my denominator is a 4, and so to fix this problem, I'm going to multiply everything by 4. So 3/4 times 4, the 4's will cancel out. You just get 3x. In the middle, negative 3y times 4 gets me negative 12y. And then at the end, 1 times 4 is 4. Now we're in proper standard form. Okay. So from there, I'm going to go ahead and take that equation and just slide it over here. 3x minus 12y equals 4. We'll go ahead and rewrite that into slope-intercept form. So slope-intercept form means I need to get y by itself. Jude, what should I move first?
You should move the 3x.
Good. So I'll do a minus 3x on both sides. That gives me a negative 12y equals negative 3x plus 4. Okay. Now I need to get y alone. So Kai, what should I do now?
Divide by 12. Negative 12.
Yep, good. Divide by negative 12 everywhere. So the negative 12s cancel out. We get y equals. Now be mindful of the signs right here, guys. So it's a negative 3 divided by a negative 12. Negative divided by negative becomes positive. We don't want a decimal, but if we could simplify the fraction, we want to. We could simplify that. What's it going to simplify to? 1/4. So that's going to be 1/4 x. And then the same thing over here. 4 divided by negative 12, what'll that be? Negative 1/3. Now that is a little unusual, I know, but we're going to keep it like that. Okay, so now, yeah, we did do what we needed to. That is in y equals mx plus b. I don't love per se because it's a fraction there, but it is what it is. We just have to accept it. Okay, so last part of this task is we need to get this into, we need to graph it. So as I'm looking here, Julian, what's my slope? Good. Rylan, what's the y-intercept? The b value. It's weird, I know. No. Yes. Eugh. We got to go with it though. Okay, so it's a negative 1/3. Now, negative 1/3, because I'm trying to envision where am I going to put this on the y-axis? What's the decimal that goes with negative 1/3? Yeah, negative 0.3 repeating. I'm going to write that down because I kind of need to think where am I going to plot this guy? So let's go to the graph. I know we start with the y-intercept. So negative 0.3. Okay, that's going to be close, 0.5 is halfway between. So 0.3 is going to be a little closer to 0 than that. So we just have to estimate that. So put a point, you're going to kind of go maybe right about here. I don't know, I'm just estimating. I'm not measuring this exactly. All right, now from there, we're going to use our slope. My slope was positive 1/4. So it's from that point, I'm going to go up 1. So if I move up 1, it's going to put me there. And then over 4. Just do your best to estimate here. This is not going to be perfect, but it's okay. And then that would be my next point. Okay, connect the points, make your line. And this is my standard form. Okay? What I want you guys to do for me is I want you to try number 3. Number 3 is not in standard form. So I want you to try this one. You're going to get it into standard form, and then you'll get it into slope-intercept. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at this. Okay, so 7y equals 7 minus 7x. Now, a lot of you guys did ask me about this. Here's the deal. You need to get it into this. This is standard form. ax plus by equals c. That means the x and the y need to be on the left-hand side. You don't have that. You only have the y on the left. So, Antonia, what needs to move?
The negative 7x.
Good, and I like how you said negative. So what's the inverse of negative 7x?
Positive 7x.
So we add 7x to both sides. Guys, you really can't combine 7y, 7x. You're just listing them. Which one should I put first? Look at standard form. What comes first? So we should write 7x plus 7y equals 7. Look at your paper. If you put y first, change it. Because real standard form is ax plus by. Your x term needs to come first. This is the answer. Has to be x, then y. Really and truthfully, that is the answer. That's standard form. Okay, now we need to rearrange it to get it into y equals mx plus b. I'm going to just take this. 7x plus 7y equals 7. If I want to rewrite that into slope-intercept form, I'm going to do minus 7x. Okay, we kind of go back to where we started. I'll put negative 7x plus 7. Because I'm trying to get it into this. Y equals mx plus b. I'll divide by 7, so I get y equals negative 1x plus 1. Okay, Justin, what's the slope?
Negative 1.
Good. And if you want to make it a fraction, guys, you could say negative 1 over 1. Rise over run. Okay, Jose, what's the y-intercept? Good. Y-intercept is 1. Slope, down 1 over 1. There's your line. Make sure yours has a negative slope. Remember, guys, another little thing about the notes. If you did something wrong, fix it. Your information on your notes, we want it to be right. We don't want to have the wrong stuff on the notes. That wouldn't be good. That wouldn't help us at all on Friday. Okay, turn it over to the back.
What did you do? -7.
Hold on, guys. Can you please stop talking? Go ahead, Jude.
Oh, never mind. I understand what it got wrong. What do you mean?
Okay, turn it over to the back. Okay. X and Y intercepts. Here we go. The point at which the graph intersects the x-axis is called the x-intercept. Likewise, the point at which the y-axis, the graph intersects the y-axis is called the y-intercept. Okay, identify the x and the y-intercept at the graph on the right. So, here we go. This point right here is called the y-intercept. It is where that line cuts through the y-axis. That's happening at the ordered pair 0, 10. If you count up, that's where that's happening. Okay. This point over here is the x-intercept. This point is happening at 10, 0. You know when you have an ordered pair, it's always x, comma, y. Let's label that. That's x, y. That's x, y. An interesting thing happens with an x and a y-intercept. Do you notice that on my y-intercept, what's the x value? Thank you. What's the y value on the x-intercept? Okay, did everybody see that? Okay, this is going to always happen. So when I have a y-intercept, pay attention to this. I hope you wrote this in your notes. On a y-intercept, the x value is always 0. The other one switches. On an x-intercept, the y value is always 0. Okay, we're going to use that to help us a little bit here. Okay, so down below, the x-intercept is also referred to as a root. Let's write this in. 0 or a solution. So sometimes, guys, if you take like a SAT, ACT, you might see questions where they'll say, find all the zeros, find all the roots or the solutions. That is asking you for the x-intercepts. When we find an x-intercept, we want the y values to be zeros, okay? So here's what it's saying. Finding intercepts algebraically, okay? To find the x-intercept of an equation, all you do is set y equal to 0 and solve for the equation. To find the y-intercept, set x equal to 0 and solve for y. So we're going to take a look at this equation right here, and we're going to try to find the x and the y-intercepts. So I'm going to make like kind of two columns. This is how I like to do it. Y equals negative 2x plus 5. Y equals negative 2x plus 5, okay? If I want to find the x-intercept, I need to make y equals 0. So y equals negative 2x plus 5. I'm going to make this y value be 0. And I'm going to solve it for x. I'll add 2x to both sides. 2x equals 5. divide by 2. And I might say x equals 5/2 or 2.5. That's going to be the x-intercept. Remember, if you want the x-intercept, all you need to do is make y equal 0. Now, similarly, if I want the y-intercept, all I need to do is make x equal 0. So y equals -2 times 0 plus 5. Well, -2 times 0 is 0. 0 plus 5 is 5. That's going to be my y-intercept. That's it. That's how we can find intercepts, x and y intercepts. You just make the opposite number equal to 0. Now, like for me, I'm fine with that. If they ever wanted you to write your answer as an ordered pair, over here, I would make this ordered pair 0, 5. Because remember, we made x equals 0 and the y value was 5. Over here, I made y equals 0, so it was 2.50. X is 2.5, y was 0. We're going to do that with graphs. So we're going to just take a look at a couple of examples here. And I'm going to show you how you can do that to graph an equation, okay? So let's take a look at example number 5. It's pretty quick, it's pretty easy, especially if you have your calculator. Okay, so it says, find the x and y intercept of each equation, then graph the equation using intercepts. Hey guys, you are going to see something like this Friday. If it says to graph using intercepts, that's how you need to graph it. So when I check your quiz, this is what I'm going to look to see. Did you graph using intercepts? Look at this graph up here. This is graphing with intercepts. Do you have a point on the y-axis? Do you have a point on the x-axis? That's graphing with intercepts. So I just want to be clear about that. So let's take a look at number 5. Okay, first thing I need to do is find the x-intercept. To find the x-intercept, we're going to make y equals 0. Okay, so I'm going to go to that equation. Y equals 5x minus 4. And where we see y, we'll make it equal a 0. Now we got to solve that equation for x. I don't care what you do. To me, I'm going to add the 4 because it's negative. So I'll just say, okay, let me add 4 to both sides. So I get 4 equals 5x. Divide both sides by 5. And you can keep 4/5, or we can make it a decimal. 4 over 5 is 0.8. Okay? That's going to be the x-intercept. Down below, it leaves you a little space to write that x-intercept in. The x-intercept is going to be 0.8, comma 0. Remember, we made y equals 0, and we got the x value to be 0.8. Okay? Now we need to find the y-intercept. All we're going to do here is we're going to make x equals 0. So we go to that original equation, y equals 5x minus 4, and where we see x, plug a 0 in. 5 times 0 is 0. 0 minus 4 is -4. That's the y-intercept. If you write it like an ordered pair, it's 0, -4. You plugged 0 in, that was your x value, and the y value that came out was a -4. Okay, now, I know you could have just graphed this with slope-intercept, but what the directions are asking you to do here is graph it using the intercepts. So you have to make sure you're doing that. Don't just do it with y equals mx plus b. So now we're going to plot these 2 points. Where do you think an x-intercept goes? On the x-axis. So here is your x-axis. Put the point at 0.8. You're estimating. It's almost to 1, but just back off just a tiny little bit. 0.8. Okay, a y-intercept goes on the y-axis, the one that goes up and down. Yours was -4. So on your y-axis, I'm going to go to -4 and put a point. 1, 2, 3, 4. All we have to do, guys, is connect those 2 points. That's going to be graphing with intercepts. So just go ahead and connect your x and your y-intercept, and you have your line, and that's it. You graphed it with intercepts. What do you think? Easy, okay, hard? You okay? Okay. I want you to try number 7 as our last one that we're going to do. All right, guys, let's go ahead and take a look at this. So, one thing I didn't say, but Ashton asked a really good question. Okay, number 7 is in standard form. And the good thing about finding intercepts is it could be in any form. It could be in slope intercept. It could be in standard. It could be really in not even one of those. Because when you find an intercept, you could just go like this. So if I start and I need to find the x-intercept, all I'm going to do is make y equals 0. So 4x minus y equals 6. 4x minus 0 equals 6. That's just 4x equals 6. Solve it for x, guys. 6 divided by 4. Now, you could get the decimal, which is 1.5. How many of you guys got that? Good. If I want to write the ordered pair, now for me personally, I usually don't write the ordered pair because I know, hey, just go to the x-axis and put a point at 1.5. That's your x-intercept. If you want the ordered pair, it'd be 1.50, okay? Now we go in and we've got to find the y-intercept. To find the y-intercept, we need to make the x value 0. So go back to that original equation. 4x minus y equals 6. Okay, and now x is going to be 0. 4 times 0 minus y is 6. Well, 4 times 0 is 0. So, some of you asked me about this. You get negative y is 6. Okay, what's the coefficient on y right now? A -1. You can't leave that. So what we have to do is divide everything by -1. We get y equals a -6. That's the y-intercept. Okay, so on my y-axis, I'm going to -6. My y-intercept is 0, -6. Connect your 2 intercepts. That's your line. Okay. How many of you guys got that? Okay. Any questions for me? Okay.